I'm in desperate need of help. If anyone reading this could please give me some insight, it would be greatly appreciated. I'm aware that some or most of you may remember the hardcore horror fans like myself. That's why I'm coming to you with a serious problem. I've always been a fan of horror. I always enjoyed a good jump scare or a creepy feeling to keep me up. However, what I have been going through for the past 10 years is something I cannot understand. I am a 40-year-old man. I'm happily married. I have 3 children who all go out in different universities. Every year, my wife and I would get extremely excited about the fall season. The reason for that is partially because we both love Halloween. We would always spend a few good grands on decorations and candy. We were known to the go-to house in our neighborhood for scoring a mother load of delicious treats. However, as I mentioned, something strange occurred 10 years ago. One night, my wife and I were enjoying a little quality time together when we got an unexpected knock at the door. I answered it, and it was nearly knocked off my feet from the sudden scare. When I opened the door, I was greeted by a large person in a yellow rabbit costume. They looked like a mascot. At close examination, the costume was a little unsettling. The head of the costume contained massive, cartoon eyes and ears that were quite long. The whole costume was pretty impressive. It looked like one of those body costumes that you could just find in a store. It was like one of those suits you would have to pay a pretty good penny for online. The bunny held a small jack-o'-lantern bucket in his hand, and he proceeded to hold it forward without saying a word. This is where the problem comes in. This happened in the early part of September. As you can imagine, we didn't have any candy to give to the poor fellow. I didn't want to be rude, but I thought it could have been just a confused person. There was no way it was a child. The person was huge. They had to have been at least 6.5 feet tall. I'm sorry, it's a little bit late for treats. Early. Why don't you come back in October? We'll definitely have something for you then, I said. The bunny simply looked down at his empty bucket, turned his back, and skipped along down the street. Naturally, we found this situation to be bizarre, but this wouldn't necessarily be a cry for help if it ended there. The next time it was late in December. The snow was practically pelting downtown. That's when we received a knock on the door. I answered it and was greeted by the bunny-suited individual again. The suit looked visibly dirty, as if it hadn't been taken off who knows how long. The funny thing was that person never came to my house on October 31st. Not a single time. I tried to be nice again and told the person that there was no candy. I told him he should probably find some shelter from the blizzard. There was no way I was letting him inside my house. The next time it happened was in the middle of January. At this point, I was quite frankly getting a little irritated and a bit uncomfortable. I even informed the local authorities about this guy, and I could legally say he was harassing me and my house. All these years, the police never came up with anything. I let this go on for 5 years before we decided to move. One time I even answered my door with a gun, threatened violence. Apparently that didn't intimidate him, even in the slightest. We moved out after about 2 miles to the other side of town. We thought it was over. For a few months, nothing happened. Until one day I got a knock on my door. I didn't think it would be him because everything seemed fine. We didn't have any problems for a while. However, when I answered, it was surely the costume rabbit person again. His costume was completely filthy. I could see large accumulations of dust and spider webs, and I could even see some spiders crawling over his body, as if the costume was beginning to rot. No matter how many times I threatened violence or snapped it on the guy, he would always come back. This is what I need help with. A few days ago he came back. I was reluctant to answer the door. It never worked before anyhow. This time when I answered, I could see splats of dried red substance along his mouth and torso. I just wanted this encounter to be over with, so I reached into my pocket and handed him some peppermints. Surprisingly, he shook his head to say no. I hate to admit that I'm stupid. For the first time in 10 years, I asked him the question, and I never thought to ask. What do you want? His body went still for a few seconds, then extended his bucket towards me, gesturing me to look inside. I nearly vomited at the sight. Inside the bucket was a heart. For my own coincidence, I chose to believe it wasn't a human heart, but I have my doubts. In an act of defense, I punched the bunny right in the face and his soft cotton head went flying into my front lawn. What I just saw crept me up ever since. Under that mask, there was nothing. No person. It was just empty. I looked over my yard at the discarded head. I swear for a split second, I saw the head blink. Before I can even process what was happening, the body ran towards the head and picked it up, and its head ran around in human speed. I don't even know what to do. I don't even know how to deal with this. I could honestly use some help. I've gone to the police. I've gone to my kids. Everyone thinks my wife and I are crazy. I'm desperate for help. I'm afraid that my life and that of my wife are on the line. Why? Because of this morning. Something was written on my front door. See you on Halloween. For the last time. I'm taking that as a threat. We've already decided that we'll be leaving town for Halloween. I don't know if it will matter if they'll find us like it did the first time. Why is it coming for us? What the hell is even it? If anyone has any solution or answers, please let me know. Halloween is quickly approaching. We're running out of time. And a big yellow rabbit comes to your door on Halloween, or anytime, slam the door in its fucking face.